When you think about it, barbecuing really is one of our oldest cooking techniques, meat cooked over flame or coals, but there's so many variations, and today I'm going to take you to a couple of places around town that are now offering something pretty unique. The Curious Squire in O'Connell Street, North Adelaide, draws on the talents of head chef Drew Aiken to showcase a unique style of cooking, but it's a task that he doesn't tackle on his own.
This is Gertrude. She is a Yoder Durango vertical offset smoker. It's the real deal from the United States, built in Kansas, and we're really excited about doing some authentic Southern style American barbecue. It's basically a low temperature, slow cooking process using smoke as the key element to cook your meats.
I can feel the heat. I have to say I'm pretty excited. What's Gertrude got for us today?
So today we started early, and we've got some smoked chickens on. These are from Southern Vales, and they've been on since about 7 o'clock this morning.
So how long will these cook for total?
About 6 hours.
Brilliant. So it looks like there's a bit of a dry spice rub on there. What's involved there?
So this is a secret rub that we have here. Paprika, a little bit of brown sugar, some salt, cracked pepper, some celery salt, and some other things that make it really nice. Adelaide's very forward-thinking in new styles of food, which I find very fascinating. So it's exciting for me to get to turn people on to a new style of barbecue I'm from Alabama, so it's from my part of the Southeast.
So think biscuits and gravy, cornbread, unique sauces and salads, with many of the recipes actually handed down from generation to generation in Drew's family. So in an Australian barbecue, we often use primary cuts of meat. What sort of cuts of meat do you use in a smoker like this?
Well, here we use a beef brisket, which would be considered a secondary cut, pork shoulder, or we call it a Boston butt, which is from this area. Those are two secondary cuts. We also use an American-style pork spare rib, which is a little bit different than you would see from your local butcher.
And while pignut hickory is pretty hard to come by here, Drew finds that red gum and mallee are good local substitutes. So using American technique.
That's right.
With Australian meats and Australian wood.
Yeah, so it could be considered South Australian, American, authentic barbecue.
How do you find our produce and our meat and our wood compares to what you've used in the US?
Well, in Adelaide especially, I find the Central Market area is fantastic for produce, and the enthusiasm that people have around here about using local products, I think is fantastic. You don't necessarily always get that back home. So for us to be central in eating local and using local produce and meats, it's a really cool thing to do.
And now from North America to South America. Chef Nicholas Areola at La Boca on North Terrace specialises in another barbecue technique that's centuries old.
Gauchos are like the Argentine cowboys. They were wandering around Argentina, and there was millions and millions of cattle. What they used to do is just stop when they want to eat something, slaughter an animal, and cook whatever they need. And they use coals or wood or whatever they have on hand to cook.
And this is the showpiece. It's called an asador, and it's basically an Argentinian-style fire pit where whole beasts are cooked over the coals all afternoon until they're incredibly smoky and tender.
It's quite exciting. Although it takes the whole day to cook it, we started early in the morning, and people enjoy by looking the way we're cooking it while they're having lunch. It's something that is giving life to the restaurant during the whole day. So by 5:30 or 6 o'clock, we are actually full with a lot of people, but enjoyable.
And while it's something that Nick has grown up with, his asador sets the scene for a really unique meal here in Adelaide. It's the perfect kind of food for sharing with family and friends. And you can even grab a glass of the local wine to round off the experience. I've never been to Argentina. By coming here, do you think I get a pretty traditional Argentinian experience?
Absolutely. And very modern too, right? Because we're not just a traditional Argentine restaurant, but the concept is very modern.
Okay, so it's like our own little Argentina in Adelaide.
Absolutely.